Hello, everybody. Welcome to the BO1 podcast, talking about UFC Edmonton, and I'm pretty sure I just totally mumbled through that intro, but oh well. We're talking about UFC Edmonton, Moreno versus Albazi, UFC, whatever the ESPN number is at this point, I have no idea. The, the number has become irrelevant for anything that is not basically a pay-per-view. So let's talk about this card real quick. Let's get it out of the way. Because I do have another commitment later today that I need my voice to actually be for. And I don't have a lot to say about this card. I'm not saying that the fights were bad. I'm not saying that the fights weren't fun. I'm not saying that the fights weren't worth a watch. But they were fights that realistically had very little in the way of like momentum swings. They kind of established themselves fairly early. Or maybe they established themselves and then had like one turn and then went off to the other end of things. But that was kind of the theme of the night. So main event, Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi. I will say there's an interesting reaction to this fight where there's a lot of MMA social media that are like, we're not impressed with Brandon Moreno. And they'll bring out Amir Albazi's shortcomings and like failure, frankly, to actually like just like adapt to anything in this fight. And I do agree with that. That was a key thing that actually had me picking Moreno to win this fight. But at the same time, I kind of have to ask the question, what did they want? Because with Brandon Moreno, like this guy went out there and he just won 5 rounds. I believe one judge gave a round to Albazi. Which round was it? I'm guessing the 4th. I'm guessing round 4. No, Judge Eric Colon gave the first to Albazi. I guess that was the round in which Moreno was the least active. That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, he went out there against a top 10, athlete, if not top 5 athlete in his division, 125, which is a pretty athletic division. And he schooled him. He basically shut him out. He won 50-45 on 2 cards, 49-46 on the other card. And there are realistically, I think, only 2 rounds of like any closeness whatsoever. Like it's 1 and it's 4. He dominated 2, 3, and 5. Easily won the fight. And yeah, he didn't get a finish, but like it's 125. I think you're just asking for something that is going to be relatively rare. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm like, oh, I think Brandon Moreno is going to be a new champion. He's going to get back to the belt. He's going to do all these things. No, I think he just highlighted what I already thought was wrong with Albazi's game, that he is too low of output, that he doesn't really find effective striking in numbers to actually compete at 125, that he is very much a bully who has to be on the front foot to dominate fights, and if he cannot get there, this happens. but at the same time, like I don't know what more could have been done. Anyways, Moreno took a very, non-controversial, pretty obvious decision here, and I would say a title shot, because obviously if Albazi had won this fight, he would have got the winner of Asakura versus Pantoja. But the problem for Moreno is, of course, that he's fought Pantoja to death and lost to him multiple times. So like the best I've got, and it's kind of sad, is the winner of Manel Cop Bruno Silva. Now, I guess you could say if Asakura wins the belt, Moreno could fight Asakura. That's an option. For Albazi, I have Alex Perez. They're very, very similar in the sense that they have all the physical tools to actually be really, really, really good flyweights. It's just a matter of like both of them kind of having this very, very bully-esque game that I don't think really works at 125. It doesn't maximize their abilities, and having them go out there against each other and maybe like both of them have to like, one of them at the very least will have to be put in a position to like develop something else. And that probably is the best I can do for either of them. Thug Rose Namajunas versus Erin Blanchfield. I had this 1 and 2 to Thug Rose, 3, 4, 5 to Blanchfield. I saw some people giving this fight to Thug Rose. I don't see it. I understand that late in the 4th round, Thug Rose had a lot of success. Like there were some things happening. She was landing some good shots, but she also almost got outlanded 2-1 in the round and was bullied for large sections of it as well. So I don't see how you can give it to Thug Rose. It's the one you would give to Thug Rose, to be sure, to be obvious. But I don't think that it's actually on the table. I really don't. this is a weird fight in the sense that Erin Blanchfield won, but I don't think it actually brought her stock up at all, because rounds 1 and 2 were what I expected from this fight, and then basically Thug Rose just wasn't willing to match activity and aggression with Blanchfield, and it's just way more about Thug Rose. Now, to be clear, much like Brandon Moreno in the main event, I think that Erin Blanchfield won a fight as well as she could. That there wasn't anything additionally she could do. It's just that I think the difference with Blanchfield is we're looking for that next step in development. We're looking for that next layer that will actually make her a title contender, which with Moreno is not the case, because with Moreno, it's just like, okay, can you put everything together? Can you make it happen? Whereas with Erin Blanchfield, we're hoping for something, and we didn't get it here. We did get a win. We did get a big win, and she continues to prove that she has an incredibly tough mental game, and that she admittedly has only one real solution for things, which is be more aggressive, which is not great, but she's willing to go to it every single time, and she will fight from behind. So it's why I want her to succeed, because I really like the mental toughness that she has. I just think that there are some limitations to her technically and athletically that probably I'm not sold can be overcome. So Blanchfield versus Natalia Silva, Thug Rose versus Macy Barber. Derek Lewis versus Junta Denise did not actually end up happening because Derek Lewis had a non-weight cut related issue. And I have nothing to say about the Kyle Machado fight versus Brinson Ribeiro, other than I thought Machado won. I gave him rounds 2 and 3. I thought he outlanded Ribeiro by a fair bit. I didn't think that there was a tremendous difference in the quality of strikes outside of round 1. I think Ribeiro is pretty terrible. Bad cage cutting footwork. Bad ways of aggressing into the fight. Machado did himself no favors by playing a back foot heavy kicking game that wasn't necessarily landing super clean either. It is the problem. You can make a solid argument that an 0-3 fighter, Kyle Machado in the UFC, should actually be 3-0 because none of these fights have been like definitive losses. I think I also scored I'm pretty sure I scored the Dontel Mays fight for him as well. So there you go. And interesting note, he's landed 76 significant strikes in all 3 of his fights. That's it's kind of weird, kind of creepy, kind of bizarre. And loses split decision here. Is he on his way out of the UFC? I don't know. He might have a fight left on his contract, because I do believe, I could be mistaken, but I do believe that the UFC gives still 4 fight deals off of Contender Series, off the hop. So I imagine he does have one more fight left. And, again, he's arguably won all 3 of his fights. So I imagine we see him again, but I don't think that this 205 move is actually a good idea. Because Ribeiro is about as bad as it gets. And you could not. Well, you know what? I'm going to say, I thought he did convincingly win, but you couldn't shine against that. So that's a bit of a problem. Next up, I got Ribeiro against Adolfo Bellato. I've got Machado against somebody off a Contender Series. Ariane Lipski had a good start against Jasmine Jasudavicius. She was denying the entries into the wrestling exchanges that Jasudavicius really likes to utilize. Was doing a very, very good job, and then it came apart. and then it just fell apart in round 2. Jasudavicius gets takedown, 3 minutes and 42 seconds of top control, dominant 10-8 round, quite possibly. 3rd round, Darce choke, boom. I thought it was an anaconda, actually, but I haven't looked at a replay of it. But yeah, same kind of thing. Jasudavicius, again, it's Ariane Lipski da Silva has every positive athletic attribute you could think of. And a relatively tough mindset. I don't question mental toughness with her. It's just it kind of showed it here, is that you needed to do this risk adverse kind of outside striking style And you proved you could do it for I would say 3 minutes of the fight. And then it came apart because, you're engaging in things in the pocket and opening up takedown opportunities for, a larger, strong, well, not even necessarily a larger, stronger, but a fighter that is actually one of the better top control grapplers in the division. If you let Jasmine Jasudavicius on top of you, you are in for a bad night. She has a very active ground and pound. I wouldn't say that she's a tremendously dangerous submission artist, but she got the submission here, so there is that. And I think she's had a couple of other submissions. Am I wrong on that? Yeah, she Darce choked Priscilla Cachuware. I guess that doesn't really matter. She's more of a decision fighter, but she's very, very active from on top position and can do the job. And De Silva needed to do what Elise Reed did, what Natalia Silva did, and just nope, can't make that happen. Can't make that happen. Anyways, next opponents I've got for Jasudavicius, Casey O'Neill. For De Silva, I've got the winner of Veronica Hardy versus Eduarda Mora. Mora going up to 125, I think, is a very, very good idea. Her 115 run was terrible. She could not make the weight reliably at all. I did enjoy. Well, enjoy maybe is not the right word, but I did appreciate the little bit of apparently one of the UFC production crew, Derek Thompson, died, and they had a moment to reflect on his life and him as a person, and never met him, don't even know could not even tell you what he looks like outside of the picture that they showed, but I thought that was a nice touch and a worthy use of time. Marc-Andre Barrio versus Dustin Stolfus was fantastic. Stolfus early on in the fight lands a low kick, and Barrio stumbles, falls to the canvas, and we have Stolfus on top of him, working for the neck, working for the attack. Barrio gets clear, but he also gets caught in a possible Darce choke, bully choke setup. Ends up getting back to his feet. They start swinging wildly, bang, 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 and Stolfus knocks Barrio out. And I said it in the breakdown of this fight, the prediction of this fight. There is no way Dustin Stolfus should be winning fights in the UFC, and he just keeps doing it. it just keeps happening. Not super consistently. He's got a losing record, but he keeps doing it because he's insane. He's insane. That's all I got, really, honestly. And it's 185, and 185's talent pool is often a bit rough. Anyways, Stolfus I've got against Edmund Shabazian. I've got Barrio against a Dana White Contender Series graduate because he has now lost 3 in a row. That's usually what I do with the 3 in a row losses who I don't necessarily want to see completely cut and I think have actually a purpose within the UFC rankings. Mike, not as a ranked fighter to be clear, but a spot on the roster. Mike Malott versus Trevin Giles. I didn't actually watch 2 rounds of this fight, and based on the reactions, because I went to get a pizza while this fight was on. But looking at the stats and looking at the reaction, I'm not going to go back and rewatch it anytime soon. Malott landed more strikes in the first, second, and third round. I watched the first round. He was largely just kicking Giles, and Giles was unable to really create anything else. Malott was inefficient as all heck. He threw his land rate in all 3 of these rounds is not particularly good. So there is that, but it doesn't seem like Giles ever got out of first gear, and that is the problem with Trevin Giles is he's a pretty good athlete and everything, but there's a conception of what his keys to winning are in his head that are just not actually accurate in a nutshell. So anyways, Malott gets a W after a fraud checking performance against Neil Magny. I guess that's good. I guess you take it. He seemed very down on the performance afterwards. I saw the post-fight interview. I came back with 17 seconds left in the third round. Saw the post-fight interview. He seemed pretty down on the performance himself, but went out there, got the W, and my hometown actually had probably the only 2 fighters that we will ever produce in the UFC on this card, Sirius City and Mike Malott. Malott is technically from the town slightly to the north of me, but it is a town I grew up in early on, till about the age of 5. So these are the closest thing I have to hometown fighters. Anyways, Malott versus Jake Matthews, Giles versus Kevin Jousset. Ayman Zahabi, Pedro Munoz. Ayman Zahabi I don't I don't know how to put it, because when he got signed, I was like, there are moments of technical brilliance from this guy very routinely, very regularly. But there is also like a fundamental not busy enough aspect to his fights that I think will cost him. And it's still there, but it's just like apparently he's just able to elevate that action to whatever is needed to win. It's kind of weird because, like, I think his idea of a perfect fight would be like something very slow, very single shot, very technically precise, very pretty in its own way, but like not action packed. But he is also still somehow ready for the action packedness, and it doesn't seem to bother him. It's a bit weird. Anyways, he looked really good. The lateral movement was on point. The counter striking was on point. The technique looked amazing. He beat up Pedro Munoz, got the biggest win of his career. And it wasn't that Pedro Munoz looked old or just done. He just looked befuddled. He looked like he just couldn't get it going. Now, I do question the lack of low kicks, because when Munoz threw the low kicks, he had success. He was able to land to the body. He was able to land to the legs. That was the best thing he was doing, but he would like go away from it over and over and over again. And that's frustrating. That's very frustrating to me. But Ahmed Zahabi, congratulations. You had a phenomenal performance. You had a weird betting odds change that happened. But yeah, you're looking good. He called for like a ranking. I don't think that is the case. Now, to be clear, I looked at the rankings in the UFC, and Dominic Cruz is still in there, which is not great. But I've got him against Montel Jackson, who is ranked. So let's see what happens. And I've got Pedro Munoz against Cameron Smotherman, because I want Munoz to win, and Smotherman is really not good. Not good at all. Not good at all. Charles Jourdain looked very, very good in his 135 debut against Victor Henry. Got a submission here via the... I don't want to misquote the particular choke that he caught him in here, so let me make sure that I got that right. Yeah, it was just a guillotine choke. Okay. People get picky when you utilize the wrong one. But yeah, Jourdain looked good. Now, I will say a big thing about my breakdown here was that I still didn't really think that Charles Jourdain going down to 135 is really going to solve much. And I'm going to actually stand by that. I just think that at the end of the day, he fought Victor Henry. And I said this in the preview, that he was fighting Victor Henry, who for 135 is not particularly fast, not particularly explosive, not particularly athletic. He is kind of just a volume guy. So I still do think that with Jourdain's lack of defensive acumen, that the speed of 135 is still going to eat him up. I still honestly think that is the case. However, I respect that he did get the win here, and obviously, for the time being, it appears like the right move. I have him against the winner of Daniel Marcos and Adrian Yanez. I have Henry against Taylor Lapilus. Jack Shore versus Yusuf Zalal. Come on, Jack Shore. Why you got to do this to me? I thought the first round was a bit tepid, but, Shore got the job done. He was, I think, a little bit too willing to go for takedowns. I think he should have worked a more outside striking game. That's my theory. That's my point. But at the end of the day, I thought he had the first round. I thought he won the first round, very, very close. But then he ducks into a knee in the second round. Zalal swarms him, gets back, gets his third straight rear naked choke sub. Or wait, this was not a rear naked choke. This was a arm triangle. My apologies. Breaking the train for Yusuf Zalal, because he was doing all the RNC stuff up until this point with Billy Quarantillo and Yarno Aarons. Although I guess he did get an arm triangle on the regional scene on the way back to the UFC. So there is that as well. Yusuf Zalal looking really good. He's looking like a finisher now, and I don't have much else to say about that. He is doing great. I've got him against Joe Anderson Brito. I've got Jack Shore against Bill Algeo. Jack Shore's move to 145 continues to be pretty unfruitful. But anyways, Alexander Romanov, Rodrigo Nascimento was a terrible, terrible fight. And I blame Nascimento because, like, the thing is that Romanov got tired and was still going forward with his hands down and stuff. And at no point did Nascimento think, I need to finish him. I need to knock him out. I need to actually throw punches. God damn it. You lost the third round on my card to Alexander Romanov. Why? Why? Oh, this is so frustrating. It was so frustrating. His hands were down in the third round, and you still only landed 20 significant strikes. It was bad. Don't go back and watch this fight. If you miss this fight, please do yourself a favor. Just keep it that way. Anyways, Romanov versus Marcos de Lima. I've got Nascimento against Mick Parkin. Garrett Armfield got robbed against Series City. I don't think it was a bad performance by Series City or anything. I think he went out there and he did fine. He landed some big strikes. He damaged up Armfield, but like he gave up a bunch of takedowns. Was attacking the neck each time, but like at some point, like Armfield was just getting clear of the chokes and so on. It wasn't really a thing, and just got generally outworked. I had Armfield winning the first in the second round. I had City winning the third round. Although even that's a weird one because there's like 12 strikes to 9 strikes landed. Like it's a really, 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 really inactive round, all things considered. But I will credit City, who said he thought that he lost his fight. So there is that. There were some people talking about how like City got robbed in his last fight against Ramon Tavares, which I do agree with. I thought Tavares lost, but that doesn't excuse like robbing Armfield. like you can't just keep like kicking the can down the road trying to correct the mistakes of judges. So, anyways, I'm gonna treat City like a winner because he got the winner on paper. I've got him against the winner of Bernardo Sopage versus Ricky Tercios. I've got Armfield against Vince Morales because I think that would be a pretty fun, scrappy fight between two guys who really, really, really could use a win. So we'll do that. Cody Gibson destroyed Chad Anheliger. I have no real insults for Anheliger because I think he did what he could do. He landed some good counters, particularly in the first round, but like he was overwhelmed by the grappling and eventually just worked over. And Anheliger is kind of like a Dustin Solfus guy who probably shouldn't be winning any fights in the UFC. Probably shouldn't even be here, and yet is still being competitive. I will, however, crap on Anheliger's corner because they just seem to not know who they were fighting. Like when it comes down to it, like the comments in the corner about Gibson not being a good wrestler and he's going to slow down, he's going to gas, he's going to fall apart. Just no. Like I don't know what else to say. Just no. Okay. We had really bad cornering with Alexander Rakic recently as well. I will say, Series City's corner was good. They were like, you're down. You got to go out there and you got to do you got to do your thing. So that was nice. That was refreshing. I've got Gibson against Brady Heastan. I've got Anheliger against Dana White Contender Series guys because he is a perfect test for like athletic dudes who like have a questionable game. Then we had another wrong decision here, which was that I had Ivana Petrovic winning the first and the second round against Jamie Lynn Horth in a pretty uneventful fight, honestly. Real talk, not terribly exciting. Horth had like avenues to win, but like kept like coming in too close to Petrovic and letting Petrovic put her game on her and so on. And it's a problem. I will say this: I have no problem with the 29-28, I think it's Mike Bell card in this fight. Mike Bell scored 2 rounds for Horth and gave her the win. I don't have a problem with that. I do not have an issue with that. I have an issue with Eric Cologne's card though, because he gave all 3 rounds to Horth. There is no way the first round can go to Horth. None whatsoever. She was controlled for 3+ minutes. She was reversed. She was outlanded 2-1. It wasn't some like lopsided beatdown round or anything, but it was like about as clear a round as you could get in this fight between Petrovic and Horth. Like it was a Petrovic round. Horth did not win that round. Horth, you could argue, won the second round. You could argue won the third round. I have no problem with that. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Mike Bell's card. I disagree with it. It's not my card, but I do believe that it is a respectable card. And obviously, Judge Thomas Collins, who scored the fight for Petrovic, I think got it right. Bad decision. Terrible card from Eric Cologne. Nothing new there. Horth is, I think, just very, very limited. I've got her against Julia Stolyarenko. I've got Petrovic against Juliana Miller. If she's still around, I don't even know if she is. I do not know if Juliana Miller is even still around. She's one of the worst tough winners of all time. And if she's not, Dana White Contender Series calls somebody up to face Petrovic, who is just a bully fighter. But hey, a lot of women coming through the Contender Series are just bully fighters. So there is a purpose. There is a test she can provide. There you go. That was the fight card. Hope you enjoyed. Check out the links down below for the Discord with the fight simulator, and also my other social media, or my social medias, and my other video game related stuff over on YouTube and Twitch. I will see you for the predictions for the next fight card.